Welcome back to Alpha to Omega. Today we'll be briefly recapping the purpose of life. So let's get right into it. The circle of being. If we were to sum up everything we've talked about thus far, and we have talked about a lot, we can say this. To be is to be human. And to be human is to read. And to read is to know. And to know is to reflect. And to reflect is to conclude. And to conclude is to worship. And to worship is to be. Unwinding the circle. If we were to break down what we just said, we could say the following. To be is to be in recognition that we are. And that in that recognition, we are human. And by being human, we have innumerable faculties and senses. The ability to think and to reason and to feel and to comprehend. And what we comprehend is processed by those faculties, such that we have a subjective perception of the world. And when we do that, when we employ that, which we do at all times of the day, we are conscious. We are in essence reading. And what are we reading? We are reading the book of the universe. Because the universe contains words like the sun, the moon, the stars, you and I. We are all comprised of particles which happen to be like letters. And those letters form words, and those words come together to form sentences and paragraphs and chapters on the page of the universe. They all form a comprehensible story that human beings can understand. And in reading, do we get to know and know the most important truth that the universe conveys to us. That this book of the universe can't be written into being by itself. The particles that it contains have no knowledge to do so, no power to do so, no will to do so. They all, and every single particle that happens to be in the universe at any given moment, must be written into being at every moment by the author, its author, an author, beyond the nature of space and time, beyond the nature of this reality, who therefore must be absolute, or in other words, their knowledge must be comprehensive, their power must be comprehensive, their will must be comprehensive, such that they can bring not only one particle into being at any given moment from a state of complete non-being, but the entirety of the cosmos and everything it contains, like you and me, at the same time. And therefore that author must be eternal, because they are beyond the nature of time, and because their knowledge and power and will and any quality we experience or happen to observe in this book that we are reading, they must be complete. They must be comprehensive. They must be absolute. And therefore they must be eternal. And if we know that basic truth, then that is the only thing we can conclude from our experience of the world. Everything else is extraneous. Everything else is distracting us. Except that we connect every experience of ours in our day-to-day being, our eating, our drinking, our working, our interactions with the wider world and with others. We connect those experiences back to the author, because they all, in their own particular respective ways, demonstrate qualities of that author as it writes things into being at every moment. Just like the author of a book demonstrates his or her qualities on the pages of the book itself. And like that book, the author can't be found in the book itself. We can only find ink, and those ink are in the shape of letters and they come together as words, but they themselves have no power to do any of that. They only refer back to the author. That author must be necessary. He must be. And when we make that conclusion, then we can direct any communication we have towards that author without any intermediary. In other words, just like when we open up a book, we are communicating with the author through the words that they write, so too we can communicate through our own being, our own faculties and senses as we're reading this book of the universe with the author to this universe, and therefore ourselves. And therefore we can express our thanks and our gratitude for having been written into being at every moment from a state of complete non-being. And likewise, being thankful and in gratitude for all the other things we've been given, all the things that we may not even realize on a day-to-day basis. Simply the ability to breathe that we may not even be conscious of. The ability to see and to smell and to taste and to think and to feel. All the things that we don't realize that we're doing but are given. And the experiences that we have with the wider world, from those that are near us to those things that are far, like the stars and all the galaxies that we interact with. We can only be but thankful and in gratitude towards that author. That is the essence of worship. To express our thanks and gratitude towards that author, and also therefore to express our neediness in times of need, because being as beings that are written into being at every moment, we have no power or will unto ourselves, such that we can provide for ourselves and give to ourselves. We are all dependent, all contingent upon that author. And when we complete that circle, then we are fully human. Purpose of being. This is what the purpose of life is, in a nutshell. And all the people who have theorized and postulated through the centuries of what it could be, they've only tried to explain the purpose of life by using the universe itself, looking at ourselves as matter, and not referring back to the author, not taking it into account that we are all connected to that author at every moment. You, me, the birds, the creatures around us, the mountains, the water, the clouds, the sun, the moon, the stars, and the galaxies. Every single thing, from the most minuscule of particles to the largest of celestial bodies. We are all connected to that author. And our purpose is in knowing him. And when we get to know him, when we get to know that author through our everyday experiences, then we know that the only thing that we must do is to read, to reflect, to show our gratitude and thanks, to express our neediness and concern to him alone. That's worship. And as we talked about previously, the book or the guidance that I need to do so in the best way possible, the most human way possible to express those things, is out there. Question is, though, which one is the best? Which one must be true? Which one corresponds to the reality of the world? I think we're going to explore that in future videos. And until then, think about it. And I'll see you guys next time.